Lorenz, Willie Randolph, and Dellin Matanzas with you as the Yanks drop the opener in Milwaukee 6-0. Really good pitching matchup going into this one. Max Fried against Jacob Misiorowski. But Dellin, as we get your Hyundai opening comment, Misiorowski wasn't victimized by some of the soft contact that Fried was.
Misiorowski set the tone from the start of the game. He was electric. 103 miles per hour he averaged in that first inning, up to 104. Then he did a good job of mixing his slider backdoor to lefties, and then that hook, 12-6 hook, back foot, he struck out a couple lefties on that as well. I mean, he was electric. He's as good as advertised. He was, 11 strikeouts, 6 innings, a lot of first pitch strikes. He did a tremendous job.
That's filthy, nasty stuff is what I call it. Okay? Kind of like the way you used to pitch it, filthy, nasty. No, I mean, come on, 103 out of the gates, high fastball. And he did at times pitch down the zone, but like you said, that backdoor slider, when he needed it, was right on point. I mean, you're looking for the ball out close to you, maybe up in the zone, but when you see that ball outside, you think it's going to be away, all of a sudden it zips on the corner, and it just freezes you right there. So he had the combination of everything going. He was just outstanding.
Yeah, he showed what
nhất thắng gặp đối chiến đơn vị đội bài xin theo 12 đô vào sới. 2 đô nghe lệnh trống, đô xanh quyền gối xuống. 2 đô nghe lệnh trống xe đài. Về với sới vật tam gia thì bắt buộc đô sẽ phải xe đài theo đúng thủ tục luật và dân tộc. Chúng ta cần phải gìn giữ và phát triển những gì trong chúng ta để lại.
And when you're 6'7" and you get that high mound, it's almost like you can reach out and give it to the catcher. That's how intimidating this guy is. But he was pumped up, he was on point, and was not easy at bat, of course.
Cooking up something special with Hexclad. Misiorowski had a 34.9% strikeout percentage through his first 23 career games. That's the highest in Major League history. He threw 7 pitches at least 103.2 miles per hour. Those were the 7 fastest pitches thrown by a starter in the pitch tracking era that began in 2008. In fact, he maxed out at 103.6 miles per hour tonight, and he leads the majors with 70 strikeouts this season. So he got cooking with Hexclad. He got cooking a little more, Dellin, because of maybe the matchup against the Yankees and just the timing of making his 8th start and being, like, locked in and ready to go.
Bob, this is the hardest he's thrown all year. I mean, you've seen it right off the gate. He sent the message to the Yankees lineup, I'm coming at you early and often. He threw about 78 to 80% of first pitch strikes. He was electric. He's as good as advertised. Remember, this was the kid that last year came up, and after 5 starts, they put him in the all-star team. So obviously a lot of people enjoy this guy, and he has a bright future. As you can see, bright arm, and the stuff is amazing.
And he also knew he was going up against. The Yankees have been hot as firecrackers, so he came to the game pumped up, knowing he had to have his A game, and he surely did. He was just outstanding.
Well, there's no doubt about that, and we talked about this on the pregame. The fact that Max Fried had really grinded in this last outing but got through 6 innings. Sort of the same case tonight, but let's take a look at what happened to him in the bottom.
Taking a seat to that 6th inning.
I think he thought that someone was going to be up in the middle there because usually he snags that ball very easily. He's an excellent pitcher. Reminds me of Ron Guidry, because when he pitched, I always played a hole this way because I knew if the ball came to the middle, he was going to snag it.
Yeah, what's going through your mind, Dellin, as a pitcher, and you know that you're doing what you need to do to get outs and get soft contact, but it's just not breaking your way?
Definitely frustrating, and you've seen it in his face a little bit. Obviously, after the 4th hit, he's like, "Man, I just keep getting bit by these soft contact." But that's what he does. He gets soft contact. Today, it just didn't go his way. But what I like about what he did is he made an adjustment. The 2nd time and 3rd time through the lineup, he uses breaking balls 50% of the time, something that he normally doesn't do. And then also, he gave the team a chance, right? Like, even though he gives those runs early, what an ace does, he goes out there and continues to pitch. He takes the game through 6 innings.
When you're the leader, when you're the stopper, you might have your best stuff, but listen, if I can keep the game close, excellent point. He made an adjustment during the game. We started using his curveball a little bit more. Again, he's a pitcher. He's a consummate pitcher, so he's never going to give it up. He's always going to feel like if I'm not having my best stuff tonight, that's okay. If you stay with me or whatever, with their offense, just keep him in the game. But tonight, he's going to swing the bats. 11 strikeouts. The Yankees usually don't strike out that much.
It might have been different if it wasn't Misiorowski on the mound, but that was a tough task.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a break. Coming up, we're going to hear from Aaron Boone about this one. As the Yanks fall in the opener, Milwaukee 6-0. Just couldn't get a whole lot going against Jacob Mizorowski. Stick around for Boone coming up next. Yankees dropped the opener to Milwaukee. 6-0 is the final. Brewers push 4 runs across against Max Fried in that second inning. And then as for the Yankees, 14 strikeouts and only 2 walks. And we know walks are part of the game. They could not get those tonight. They also did not get any of their 5 base runners past second base. Let's hear from Aaron Boone now in the manager's report, brought to you by Toyota.
Aaron, you knew Mizorowski was going to be a tough matchup, but just when somebody's throwing consistently 100, 200, 300, 104, just how brutal is that as an offense?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously he was good and got a lead and was able to get after it. It's that kind of lower slot that he has and then gets the extension, almost more so than the velocity. So, yeah, I mean, I thought there were a couple times where we were getting some good at-bats against him and controlling the zone a little bit there. But, he had that big lead and got after it pretty good.
You mentioned that lead. Max Fried has been so good all season long here in the early going. Just what was different about his stuff tonight that didn't allow him to have success?
Yeah, stuff was good. Even in the inning, they scored the 4. They didn't really – I don't think they hit a ball hard. But, he gets the 2-strike hit to Sanchez to get it started where he just kind of fights it off and finds the hole on the right side, and then he has 2 walks. Lost the strike zone there on 8 pitches, so we're loaded, and then it's, kind of fights another one off. Ball finds the grass up the middle, and another soft contact finds the grass. So they're able to put 4 across, and then Vaughn stung that ball to center the next inning when they added their 5th run. So, just got a little bit out of whack there to where he lost the strike zone and it hurt us.
That, I believe, Ortiz ball to McMahon, did you think they had a shot at a double play on that? I think it was Ortiz.
No. Slow developing play like that's going to be pretty tough. So I didn't in real time. But I hadn't gone back and looked.
And then the one up the middle, I believe that was Churio. Did Caballero get blocked at all by the umpire, or just no shot there?
I think it was just kind of in that no man's land that, Jazz and Caballero both made the decision that they weren't going to be able to get it. So then the other one was going to go to the bag, and then they kind of stopped. So it's just kind of in that, rolled it in that perfect spot.
So not miscommunication or anything there, just neither going to be able to get there.
Yeah, I think they both made the simultaneous decision that they weren't getting it to it.
What do you think of Spencer's at-bats tonight?
Good. I thought his punch, like first at-bat strikeout, I thought he controlled the zone well against him. I thought he got off some really good swings, just missed a couple. Obviously ends up working the walk. So, obviously 2 strikeouts and a walk. But I thought looked under control and controlled the at-bats pretty well, obviously against a pretty tough matchup.
Fried was at 40 pitches. Was that basically the last batter for
him?
him?
Yeah.
So for him to end up going 6.
I mean, that's an ace for you. And, to have that kind of inning and be able to give us 6 and kind of, those are big. And when you're in 13 in a row, it's like the De Los Santos a few days ago, getting us 10 outs, like that goes a long way in helping us win the game the next day. So those are big things. Max even wanted to go out there for more, after the 6, but, like he's got to go back out there in 5 days in Baltimore. So, good job by him of rallying and getting us deeper into that game.
So again, for a second straight outing, Max Fried just trying to hang in there. He pushed himself in through 6 innings again. But Dylan, the way that second inning started, a single, soft contact, that's okay. But then 2 walks follow that, so it's bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah, if you look at that outing, Bob, for me, that's the point in the game where Max Fried is probably the most frustrated. Gary Sanchez, weak contact, gets a ground ball through that right side. That's okay. But then he walks 2 guys, Vaughn and Rengifo. He walks them on 4 pitches. That's probably a frustrating part in the game that he wishes he can get back. After that, you can live with the weak contact. Obviously, it's a little frustrating giving up runs, but he does a tremendous job of just giving his team a chance, going to the 6 innings. I thought he made a great adjustment. It's just a tough night against Mizorowski.
And the one thing you don't want to hear post-game from any manager is no man's land. No man's land is a bad place to be for that ball to go.
No man's land, and those C&I plays always tough, and that one up the middle, and usually Max catch that ball, but you get the form they converge up the middle. I think they thought I thought this ball could have been fielded by Calabero, but again, you don't know who's going to the bag at the time. A little miscommunication, but it's a quick play, materializing really quick. So again, maybe not one of the biggest plays in the game, but a play that would probably save some damage.
It's interesting, right? Because you always tell pitchers, let your defense do the work for you. And in Max Fried's case, he was doing that.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, he's probably he knows he's good enough to potentially.
He was a little bit off balance, but usually he makes that play. He fell off a little bit to the side, but if he had to do it again, he would have probably tried to field that.
See, what I seen there is like he thought the shortstop was going to be there to make the play, so he kind of let it go. But usually, you're right. He feels his position great. He makes that play most of the time.
Yeah.
All right, we got more to talk about. Want to remind you, though, tomorrow night on Yes, the Yankees and Brewers. Good to have you back on the postgame. Let's get to our pitching decisions presented by Sage. The breakdown for Max Fried tonight of his 94 pitches, 30 were cutters. They went just 1 for 7 against it, but all 3 of his walks came on that pitch. So, again, for a second straight start for Fried, troubles with commanding that cutter. He threw 16 sinkers. That was a pitch that the Brewers went 3 for 6 against. Let's hear from Fried about the outcome of this one and those 4 runs in the second in our Genesis Sounds of the Game.
Max, you look at that second inning, couple of walks, some balls that weren't necessarily hit particularly hard, but what do you think caused you to perhaps get a little bit out of whack there?
I wasn't, nothing specifically, just wasn't able to locate and fell behind, walked 2 guys pretty uncompetitively, and then just wasn't able to kind of stop the bleeding. They were able to put the ball in play and scored runs, and that was kind of the game right there. I needed to be able to come through, and wasn't able to do it. Put us down early and big, and definitely wish I would have been able to have that one back.
How do you kind of process that when they are putting the ball in play, to your point, but just essentially finding holes?
Again, just it's baseball. You gotta be able to make the pitches. You gotta be able to do what you need to do to get out of that situation, and 4 runs there is definitely me not doing my job.
You threw 40 pitches in that inning. How were you able to get through 6 then?
At that point I came in, I told Booney as many as you need me to go, and you give up that many runs, it's how deep in the game can you go from there? Keep us in it, knowing that if I'm getting into the 6th, hopefully the 7th, it's probably getting held right there. Some quick innings to be able to bounce back, but I didn't do my job to be able to keep us in it and allow our offense to string a few together, because it definitely it just made it a little bit uncompetitive, and I definitely didn't do my job today.
How much do you kick yourself for the back-to-back walks?
Anytime you walk guys back-to-back, it's really bad, and especially when you give up a leadoff single and then it's bases loaded, no out, and you need to get out of that and do something. And I wasn't able to get the strikeout, and they were able to get a couple hits, and especially me not making that play on the comebacker to me too, to be able to try to get a double play to get out of it. A lot that I didn't do in that inning, and just got to make sure that doesn't happen again.
I know it's a hard night, but is there any solace in giving the bullpen a relief, especially after yesterday, having to do a bullpen game when weathers went down?
That's kind of the least that I could do at that point. I always want to make sure that I'm going deep into games, and when you have a 40 pitch inning and you give up 4 runs and you go down early, that's really the only thing you can do, because you just got to be able to put it behind you and keep going.
Well, that is one of the bright spots for him in terms of the start. He doesn't look at it that way. He's always tough on himself. But the fact that he got through 6. In his last start, he went 5 1/3 against Baltimore. But Willie, in that game, he'd only allowed 3 runs, and the Yankees were right in it. even though he gets through 6 tonight, it's tougher because he gave up that 4 spot in the second.
Yeah, and that's uncharacteristic of him. He knows that he's a little unlucky, of course. You know, one thing I want to mention about the infield in Milwaukee, when I played there, they have a fast infield. If you notice, a lot of balls were getting through the infield really quick, a lot of big bounces or whatever. So not an excuse for that, but I just love that Max is honest about his outing. Win or lose, he's always going to tell the truth. The whole staff is like that. If you listen to the post games, and they're always very honest. They break it down. Real education for the fans to listen to what these guys do, because they break down their game, but they're very accountable, and they don't make any excuses. So I love listening to him break it down at the end.
You know, Dylan, it's interesting. He mentioned the 40 pitches in that second inning. He ends up striking out the last 2 batters of 9 that he faced, but the problem was he didn't have the swing and miss stuff to get a strikeout earlier in that inning. Had he done that, maybe it's bases loaded, nobody out, strikeout, double play, and he's out without a run. But he just couldn't find that 2-strike put-away pitch.
Yeah, you heard him there. He couldn't stop the bleeding. He gave up 4 runs, and that's a tall task to overcome, especially against Mr. Roski on the other side. But I thought he did a tremendous job. You called it. He struck out a couple guys. He started using his off-speed more. But the definition of an ace, this is what I call Max Fried. The ability to go deep in the ball game, preserve your bullpen. This goes a long ways. This is just one loss in the loss column for the Yankees, but this helps the bullpen out to, set the tone the rest of the series. And, a guy that goes out there, he reminds me of CeCe. CeCe at times would, have one bat in him, but you can see him go deeper in the game. It just helps the rest of the staff out.
Yes, they understood the importance of a closer, as a stopper, and just to make sure that you lengthen it out for the guys. It's a 3-game series. There's going to be a lot of run scores, I think, in this series. Yankees will get back on track. Milwaukee's going to keep being a pest, getting on base, moving guys around. So he knows what he has to do as a starter. And again, I just love the fact that he was honest about it. But he's a way of flushing it. The whole team should just flush this one and get ready for tomorrow.
Well, they got a chance with Schlittler on the mound, no doubt about that. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about Spencer Jones' Major League debut, batting 6th at DH tonight. We'll recap his evening and find out what he thought about his debut coming up next.